Well, hello everybody. So right now I'm going to take you on a little tour of my course and show you the things that I've been working on these last 5 weeks. And hopefully I can show you something awesome. So as I say that, I want you to just for now ignore my homepage. That is actually on my list of things I need to work on. What you see here is just what I had worked on a little bit at the end of last semester. But and I've been looking at a lot of courses, some from this class right here, and I was thinking, from the EDLT 580, thinking that I need to make mine more exciting. Always had like very basic looking courses. So anyways, I'm going to take you right into the cool stuff. So I'm going to click on modules. Alright, so the thing that I have added recently, so I have mandatory office hours now, and I'm actually going to be doing that because I'm trying to engage with my students and like have, this would be part of my interactions piece, that student to instructor. And I know with HLC and QM Standard 5, we need more interactions. And at the same time, I know that if I just have office hours online, I probably won't get anyone. So this is just to kind of, what I'm asking students to do is at least one time over the semester, they have to bring 3 questions that's related to what we have been learning. And then I have activity directions there, activity instructional support materials, and then have an assessment there. And I definitely readapted this from another instructor. Who did I get that from? It was from another class for sure. But I'm like, this is really cool. So far I'm doing it once a semester. I think twice might be better, kind of that midpoint, so like a formative kind of drop-in office hours. We can talk about what they need work on still, and then maybe even offer a suggestion box for what I can improve on. And I would have to figure out a way, as I did the mandatory office hours, when each student left, I would have like a link for them to go do anonymous feedback. And I would let them know that I would not be checking it till after a certain point so that I couldn't tell whose it was. So anyways, these are just things that I've been thinking about. So that's one new addition. I'll go back to modules. So let's see, I added, so it's hard for me to remember which one the semesters melt into each other. For sure though, what I did in the grade book, so I'm actually going to go to grades, and I'm going to click on that. Give me a second. Is I weighted my grades. So you can see up at the top, the warm-up activities are 50% of the grades, or 50% of the final grade. The quizzes are 25%, and the discussions and assignments are 25%. So the thing why I wanted to do this, I'm really excited about this. Yes, we have tons of discussions, a lot of assignments. This is a developmental writing course, so there's lots of essays to do, some basic research projects, and we're going to be doing some quizzes. But my focus would be on the warm-up activities, because what I want to stress to them is that, it's the process of learning how to write and figuring out what works for you and read, and not sitting down to write, sitting there to type and being afraid and thinking you can't do it. So that's what I'm trying to do with this particular setup and why I weighted it as such. And I'm hoping that students feel more confident and inspired, because they're low-stake activities, so the warm-up activities are only worth a couple points each time, but the weight of it really goes into being a big part of the course. So I hope I can explain that to them well enough. So right now this course is actually a blended, and so my point, like what I'm trying to do is I'm trying to turn it into a fully online class. And then I'm going to see if the department would like to offer it as online, so I need to get my class ready so I can showcase it. I've got a lot of work to do still. Alright, I'm going to go back to the modules. Something I added recently is this APA quiz, and I have multiple choice, short answer, true, false, and let's see, let's go ahead and preview it. So yeah, this follows, so like I said, this is currently a blended course, so this follows a presentation given by the DACC library person who is in charge of research and APA and citations and things like that. So I really am trying to get them to pay attention when he's there, because I teach at night and I feel like He'd probably rather be anywhere but there in our class. And so just, each question's not worth much, that the entire quiz isn't worth much, but I want them to pay attention and to do it. So this is new. So some fill in the blanks. So yeah, that's the 5th type. So fill in the blank, essays that I have to get in there and grade. And so what I changed about this before, because I've done APA quizzes, let's see, I did one for another, it was for a college 101 course, and it wasn't as extreme of a quiz, so it didn't have as many questions, and I actually didn't have any short essay questions, but since, again, this is a writing course, I want them to write any chance they have. At the same time, I didn't want too many because then I knew I had to get in there and grade them, and let's be real, it's going to take too long if I have 20 of those. Okay, cool. So let me show you something else that I created recently. All right. And then in a second, I'll show you one of my warm-up activities. And I'm still looking for feedback on that because I'm not sure I am doing it effectively for a blended headed to a fully online. I don't even know. I'm trying to figure out how I can do some of my activities in the online world, and I know we have to make a lot of changes and some activities just won't transfer, but we'll figure that out. Okay, so if you scroll down, so you can see I still have a bunch of blank modules and still filling in, of course. So I have student resources for writers, and then I have academic and institutional resources, and I'm still, adding to this little by little. I thought about pulling in a complete module that we created here at OSIP, but I want to just kind of, pull things in one at a time so I can really try to figure out what I think my students need. And that being said, they are at DACC, so I can't use everything that's used for NMSU. So why do I have student resources for writers in academic and institutional ones? Why don't I just have it in one area? Or why don't I just have it in my syllabi? There might be some of these links in the syllabi, so there's one answer. But again, I want my students to feel like they are writers, and I want them to see that they can just go to these sites. Let's see if it'll load. Oh yeah, okay. And that they don't have to know everything when they go watch a video. That's the point of it. So throughout the semester, we're going to be watching some of these, and I'm going to have some of my discussion posts around these videos. We actually watched this one in class the other day, and then I had them kind of respond to it as far as how their story, from their perspective. So online, I think I can easily do this, and it would be, again, one of those warm-up activities where I would ask the same question I asked to them the other day face-to-face, but I would ask it online. And I'd have to create the rubric for these. That's what I need to do, is create the rubrics for my warm-up activities. And it's going to be a very holistic approach. I'm looking for the fact that they did it. At the same time, I want it to be more than just 3 sentences, and I want them to progress throughout the semester. So I need to figure out how, here's a question for you. Is that 2 different rubrics? Because at first, the warm-up activities, they're going to be so low stakes, so holistic, where it's kind of like, okay, cool, you typed, you did something, great. Mid-semester, I'm going to start asking more from these warm-up activities. And then by the end, I want them to be taken more serious, Not the same as I would evaluate their actual essays, because we do have a rubric for that. So these are things I'm just kind of grappling with still. So yeah, I'm going to go back a little bit. So I'm going to add some more student resources for writers. I actually have a Pinterest board right now for developmental writers. So I might embed that in the Canvas course, and I know there's a way to do that. So that might be fun to have up for a little while. I also am thinking about doing Padlet, maybe Pinterest as just a link out, and or maybe Padlet embedded in the course as a wiki page that they can add to. I think that would be something pretty engaging for them. Okay, so my academic and institutional resources. You got to have these in your online course, so this is what I'm putting in there. I want them to go get tutors, so that's actually going to be related to an assignment they have to do, similar to me asking them to attend office hours. So more to come for that with that link. But in general, I want them to have access to that. And this is a link to the online tutoring that is offered. Academic Readiness Center, so they have face-to-face hours, and then they have online ones, which a lot of people don't know about. Find a tutor. This site has changed a little bit, so there, I think it's off of the library website. Why did they do that? So BrainFuse, Help Now, and then it takes you to the tutoring. The online tutoring. And so this URL up here, I'm going to move the screen up a little bit. That's the one I probably need to provide instead of the one I have in there. So this is great. All right, so I'm going to go back and just point out, in my opinion, one of the most beneficial links you can provide your students is a link to financial aid, because in an online course or a face-to-face course, money is still the #1 reason students drop out. So this will certainly be in my syllabus, and it'll stay in this course. I'm going to showcase that quite a bit. Yeah, so I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to have a module just for warm-up activities. You can see here that I started to put them in each module. And I would like your feedback, actually. Should they be in one module, or should they be related to the week? I am doing them every week, so I think I may just stick with that. I'd love to see what ideas you have for that. So this one is cool. So what they do is they read this article about ghosting, and it could be an article about anything. But I am trying to get them to, talk about the way language is used to make things sound cutesy. So ghosting, I don't know if you're familiar with it. Ghosting is when, you've been talking to someone, dating somebody, and all of a sudden you just completely end all communication. So then I have them think about what the actual terms and words and explanation for that is, instead of ghosting, which sounds so adorable. So what I do in class usually is I have them, I read this little scenario. Jorge and Jeannie have been talking for a couple months and have been on a couple of dates. Things seem to be going all right. They get along. There weren't any red flags. But then Jorge decides he's not into her anymore, and he stops talking to her 100%. He doesn't contact her, respond to her messages, etc. Nothing. So there's a scenario. I throw it out to them. Actually, we do this before reading the article. Then I have them pick a part of the room. So little clumps, depending on how big the class is. Okay. And then they read Maria de Russo's It's Time to Call Ghosting What It Really Is. Okay, so they get the scenario, they get into the corners, they read. Based off of the reading, they write for 5 to 10 minutes. And that's kind of how the warm-ups go all the time. And again, that's for my blended. And then after they're done writing for 5 or 10 minutes, sometimes they want to write for 15. I let them. I have them for 2.5 hours. And then we kind of talk about what they came up with. And sometimes if they seem rambunctious, I have them do this activity again, the 4 corners again. And actually, I borrowed this assignment from Gina Lawrence from NMSU English Department, this 4 corners idea, which I think she borrowed from somebody. So I want to see if where they place themselves has changed. Okay? I need to figure out how to do this online. Or I need to just realize that not everything can be transferred online. Let me see. So I showed you the grade book and the weights. I showed you my new APA quiz and how I have essay questions. I showed you my student resources, and I showed you that warm-up activity. I think that is kind of what I've been working on the last 5 weeks. So for now, I'm going to stop sharing, and please respond and let me know what you think I can improve on, and any ideas you have for warm-up activities. I would love to know. All right, and I will go and make comments on yours, so appreciate it. Thank you.